things first.
Hello, hey guys, and welcome to
The Comic Gamer Movie Show. My name is Deshaun.
And I am Seth Archibald.
Today we are reviewing Mad Max Fury Road.
We just flipped a coin and I won, and he tried to,
I wanted to review Age of Ultron. I mean, we could go either one. They're both good movies.
Yeah, they're both good movies, I will admit. But anyway,
Yeah.
this is really cool. So anyway, let's start. Mad Max has such a title, such a persona, such a universe written by the original writer.
I know that
George Miller.
That old guy can still do it.
George Miller.
He's like,
George
what is he,
Miller.
like 85? Like
I don't know how old he is, but he still got it.
Yeah, I mean, wow.
So anyway, Mad Max Fury Road, it was such an interesting persona on the Mad Max universe. It was different, because Mad Max in the older movies he was a lone ranger and a lone wanderer, sort of.
Another thing that's a lot of people don't know, this isn't a prequel or anything. This
No.
is an add-on. This is after.
This is an add-on.
God, I always forget the name of the last one, the third one. This is after.
Road Warrior, I think.
No. It's something Dome.
Oh, I don't know.
It's something.
I don't remember.
It's after that.
I've only saw the original Mad Max, and then I saw Mad Max Road Warrior.
Yeah, this is the carry-on.
So anyway, Mad Max's story. Let's start with the story. The story is about Mad Max getting captured by Immortan Joe's War Boys, and he is thrust into this sort of partnership with Imperator Furiosa.
Furiosa's a badass.
She's a badass, but it's funny because she's on the same. Yeah, she's on the same level as Mad Max. They're equal. They're equals. They're not, like Mad Max is above her or Furiosa's above him.
I gotta point something out. A lot of people had a problem with that.
Feminist propaganda.
Some people had a problem with this feminist thing and
bullshit.
And like when I heard it, like I hadn't seen Mad Max at the time. When I heard it, I was like, well, my opinion at first before I saw it was, well, why? Well, because people tried to make it seem like her role was just blowing him like all the way over there, and it was just her movie. And I was like, well,
wasn't.
But and I heard that, and I was thinking like, why would they do that? Then if they actually did that, then I might agree with you a little bit. It's called Mad Max, and he's not. But once I saw the movie, I was like, you guys are on the same level. I understood. I got it.
Right.
And it was good.
Yeah.
It was a good level.
Yeah, Furiosa and Mad Max were on the same equal level. It's not feminist propaganda.
No, it's not.
It is not. It is just a badass action movie. And so anyway, the story is that Mad Max and her end up working together to save these brides or breeders, whatever Morton Joe calls them.
It's like his wives.
Wives, breeders, brides, whatever you want to call them.
His best breeders.
His best breeders. There you go. His best breeders. And they basically, their goal is to, Furiosa is taking them to a green place, which is the Many Mothers faction's turf. But we'll get to that later on in the spoilers discussion. You guys have to stick around after our review of the movie, and then we'll go on to a spoilers discussion about our views on certain parts of the movie, and which obviously will contain spoilers of our certain views on certain things. So let's start off with the characters themselves. Tom Hardy did Mad Max. How did you feel about that?
Tom Hardy's Mad Max.
It's
hard to compare to Mel Gibson's one.
Mel Gibson's such a
it was
actor.
iconic. It was iconic.
When
I heard Mad Max, Tom Hardy didn't do he did. I'm not saying he did bad. Tom Hardy did good.
He did
as good as he possibly could. When I heard Mad Max, I'm still gonna think Mel. It's not.
I'm still gonna think Mel.
It's not like
I'm not gonna think Tom Hardy.
I'm not gonna go. Oh, Tom Hardy knocked Mel completely.
It's just like The Patriot.
Still thinking Mel.
Yeah, it's like when you think The Patriot, you think Mel Gibson. You think Braveheart, you think Mel Gibson.
I think Mad Max. I think Mel. I still think Mel.
Yeah, you couldn't. Yeah, it's like Mel Gibson. I really don't know that whole thing that was going on with Mel Gibson. Apparently something happened or
losing
something.
It because if Mel, I can guarantee you this: if Mel Gibson was in good spirits and really popular, and they would have got him. They would have brought him back.
They would have brought him back.
Because and another thing, a little bit I don't know. Did they ever say the date time between the last movie and this one? Because if there's a time, then
I don't think there is one. I think this is a complete standalone movie.
Yeah,
I don't think this is a prequel, sequel, or anything.
Because if you compare and I guess because I'm comparing it to the other ones, and I'm like, well, compared to those other ones, it's about it's faithful, but it's because it was made by the same guy. It's very faithful. I love. About this movie, one of the things I love the practical effects.
Yeah,
there's a lot of practical effects. I've heard on YouTube and different things that they blew up 400 cars in the process of making this movie. Cars were blowing up. They went. A lot of that was real. There wasn't really much CGI in this movie.
Yeah, there was I only saw a few CGI moments. Maybe 5 at
There's
the
an
max.
awesome
5
guy.
Maybe at the max.
There's
probably a little bit more.
There's an awesome guy in his pajamas with a guitar that has good flames shooting out of it. I mean. It doesn't get any more balls to the wall manlier than that.
Yeah.
One thing I was upset about.
Yeah, on the party bus, the big subwoofer thing, and then they got the war drums, and that's the thing about this movie that I love is that they take post-apocalyptic, way of living and thinking in this Viking.
Somebody said it to me the other day. It's like Twisted. You ever seen that game Twisted Metal? You never seen it? Well, if you've heard of it, Twisted Metal, it looks like Twisted Metal because some of the Twisted Metal with cars and
post-apocalyptic Twisted Metal.
Yeah, pretty much.
Anyway, the cars themselves. Let's go into the cars. So anyway, let's go into the individual factions, and then we'll go from there to their characters.
Well, I was slightly upset a little bit at the fact that Max's car was barely in the movie.
The Interceptor.
It was blown. First of all,
it was crushed.
It was crushed, taken apart, put back together, and somebody else was driving it. Then it was crushed again.
That made me mad.
I was just like,
mad.
Really? I was like, his iconic car, one of the most iconic things, was not only was it barely in the movie, it was destroyed. I was like, what?
It was bullshit.
I'm like, oh, come on, really? I just destroyed his car?
Yeah, so anyway, let's go into the fact. Let's start with the Immortan Joe's faction, his war boys. The Immortan Joe's faction, war boys. Immortan Joe, let's talk about him. Immortan Joe is a warlord in this, one of 3 warlords because the other 2 warlords are his brothers.
Yeah,
they are his brothers. And he is in charge of of water and food and
it's like this huge
and breast milk.
Yeah, breast milk's the thing of it.
Breast milk.
Yeah, you joke, but that got a lot of nutrients in it.
Sheesh. Yeah, well, still.
I guess any milk tastes good out there in the wasteland, huh?
I guess anything besides water.
Max even was like, what's this?
It's mother's milk, and it's like he's just washing his face with it anyway. He doesn't give a shit. Anyway, Immortan Joe himself, he's a warlord. He's one of 3 warlords of the Waste. His character, he's very driven.
Yeah.
Very ambitious.
He's really intense, I'll tell you that.
Very intense, too.
He's an intense
and
guy.
he's built this whole Viking persona on, if you die
Valhalla,
if you die in glorious battle, you go to Valhalla, and then he goes into detail about what their version of Valhalla is, and it's an endless road, a golden road, or something like that.
Yeah.
And they're all perfectly chromed.
Yeah,
they're
that's
perfect.
why they do
shiny.
This thing where they chrome the mouths.
Yeah, I'm getting chromed up for Valhalla. Like they're chromed up for Valhalla. You know what's funny? That was cake stuff too, by the way. That wasn't actual chrome paint. That was cake or something.
I know, but they did it. It just
and that's the thing. When they die and go to Valhalla, they become chrome and shiny, and that was that's a paradise. And then they'll ride with their Immortan for all eternity. They'll ride with him on the eternal road for all eternity. And it was like these guys. I remember this one scene where this guy was shot by one of the Desert Raider guys, and he took his thunder sticks, and they were like, witness! They do like the V8 thing, like a worship thing, and it was like he was going to Valhalla, and he was like,
witness! Yeah, he said, witness me.
Witness me go to Valhalla, and it was so fucking cool.
They're so intense, and they're just so driven.
They're so...
war boys, there's this one particular war boy, though, who was a lot more interesting. He might have been one of the most interesting characters in the movie.
I think you're talking about Nux?
Yeah, because he was so, especially since he started to dawn on him, maybe this isn't the right path. He was so, this is it.
Yeah, he always wanted to, his whole goal in life was to impress Immortan Joe and go to Valhalla. That was his only goal. That's all of their goals. They don't have any independent goals. Their only goal is to die for Immortan Joe to go to Valhalla. That's it. That's all I got. And when one of the brides shows him a little bit of love and kindness, he's like, wait a minute, this is actually a for real love, kindness.
Yeah, this is a lot better than
love, kindness, and peace. This is a real thing. Peace. What's peace? It was and so anyway, he snaps out of this sort of thing, and he helps them. And it was funny. It was there's this one scene where Nux and this other guy who was driving the Interceptor, by the way. He's spitting gas into the war rig in order to go faster to turbo boost, and they're having a spitting match, like a
and he chokes on that shit too.
Yeah,
chokes on gasoline.
That kind of made me gag a bit. I couldn't imagine that. Anyway, Immortan Joe, he's very ambitious, he's very driven, but the reason why he's that way is because he's so mutated, grossly mutated, by the way. And he has to have a breather. He has a bag of air. He's got that armor that protects him from the sun.
But a lot of them got mutations. He's got this. Even Nux get these lumps on his neck.
Yeah, some of them do have
I think
mutations.
they're dying.
I don't think they're dying.
I think he was dying. You said something about him dying at the beginning.
I never didn't know that.
Yeah, he was like, he's barely alive. He's gonna die anyways, and he was like, and that's why he had Max. He was getting blood from Max.
Oh yeah, like, the blood bag. Take the blood bag with me.
Yeah, like I was like, what's the...
He's like on a cross on Max's
I'm like,
car. I was like, oh
like, and it said something about him dying. So I'm like, was he dying?
And that's the other thing. They have blood banks. They have blood. And blood's another resource that is pure blood, pure unirradiated blood. That's rare, and that's a commodity in and of itself beyond water. And like, if you have fresh blood for a transfusion, then someone can live a little bit longer with fresh blood in their system. So anyway, now let's move on to the brothers of Immortan Joe. There's Gastown and Bullet Town?
I really didn't pay much attention to
Gastown and Bullet Town.
When I was watching it, I was so focused on Max and Furiosa.
Yeah,
and
so
anyway, they're
there's not much on them.
Yeah.
There really isn't, and it's just
they die.
Yeah, they do die. And so anyway, the governor of Gastown, one of Immortan Joe's brothers, is this big, bloated, fat, mutated guy that runs Gastown, and his brother is a skinny little prick that wears clothes with nothing but bullets as his clothes, and it's just like, holy shit. So, and anyway, and like he drives a Cadillac tank.
This movie is intense.
Think
about that. Think about how manly.
This is the manliest movie.
This movie is a very intense movie. This isn't something that
Yeah, this isn't something that is. This is something you go in there and you want to and you're at the edge of your seat, holy shit, what's going on here? And
this is manly.
This is a manly movie. So anyway, that's them. There's not much on Immortan Joe's brothers. Now let's move on to the Sand Raiders. There's not much on them either. But what we got from the movie was that their cars told their stories for them. Mm-hmm. I believe that. I think that. And their cars were spiky, they were very rustic, but they were also, but they had a purpose. If you climbed on my car, you're going to get stuck.
Yeah.
And like in this world, guys will jump on each other's car and they'll try to remove drivers, steal the car, steal the gas, steal cargo out of it. And, you can't climb on the Sand Raiders cars because they're spiked and you can't do it. So, and they have this one vehicle in there, it's like a big armored car looking thing, and it's like a crane. It's like a crane armored car looking thing that tries to take the gas off of the truck and all that stuff. And that thing was sick, by the way. But that one didn't have much spikes on it. I had some spikes on it, but not
maybe we should talk about, some people haven't seen the original Max and original.
That's
so
the
maybe
thing.
some people don't know.
Well, this is the thing. I believe that it's not that relevant because this is a standalone movie in and of itself. You don't have to watch the original Mad Max to see these movies.
Yeah. But
they
really don't talk about Max's background story because the way they just set it up is assuming you've seen them.
Yeah, well, anyway, Max's background is kind of like screwed up. Well, anyway, throughout the movie, he gets flashbacks of all these people he tried to help, but he couldn't help. They all died. And he's haunted by them all throughout the entire movie. And it makes sense because Mad Max is such an unlucky son of a bitch no matter where he goes.
Just a little bit of history. Even from the beginning, he lost his wife and child.
Yeah,
he couldn't save them.
He couldn't save them.
He couldn't save them. And
then like after they died, he was like, all right, I'm gonna help out other people. But when he tried to do that didn't work out very well. He had other people who died too.
Yeah, people die around him, and he's kind of got that whole thing in his head like people die around me.
People die around him, and he's kind of accepted that. Even in the original Mad Maxes, he just accepted that fact, and that's why he was always by himself. He was always the Lone Ranger.
Yeah. I think he had a really good line in this movie. He said, what did he say? I'm the road warrior. He's something searching for a righteous cause,
redemption or something.
Yeah,
like that.
It was something like that. And I
was Furiosa was seeking redemption because of all the crimes she committed to get her position as the Imperator Furiosa.
She was like the top. That's pretty cool. Cause a woman that he entrusted a woman to be the head of this. With all those.
Well, that's the thing, though.
What did she do to get in that spot?
I think she did a lot of fucked up things to get.
I'm like, wow.
She did a lot of crazy things to get in that spot. And here's the thing, Furiosa herself is a very strong, independent character. Yeah. It's like one of those jokes. I'm a strong, independent woman. I don't need no man. Anyway. She don't need no man. Anyway, the point is that she is a daughter of one of the Many Mothers faction. Mm-hmm. She's a daughter of one of them. And so anyway, she was stolen. She was kidnapped as an infant from her mother and from her parents at a very young age, and she was taken to Immortan Joe's to actually, I think she was taken there to become a breeder. But then she did something, and then like Immortan Joe kind of looked at her in a different way. He's like, all right, I'm going to use her a little bit differently than I'd use other women. Because like Immortan Joe has what 5 to 6 women who are his breeders.
He's got like 7 or 6. I
At
know
least
a
6.
few of
I
them
think
die.
6. I feel like there was a little bit.
One
more.
of them dies.
Oh gosh,
What?
man. That was the saddest thing ever. I didn't cry, but I was like, oh.
Well, at first I didn't think she died because I just saw her fall.
That's true, but she
And
was
then
crushed.
Max is like, I saw her go on the wheel. I'm like, the way he said it and was looking at her, I was like, did she really, or are you just saying that
No,
so we
well,
stop?
and the scene,
I couldn't
and
tell.
And then the scene a little bit later
Yeah,
shows
then it
him
showed
holding her.
Yeah, then it showed she really did. I'm like, okay, all right.
Yeah, and it was like so anyway, it was like, that was kind of sad because like she was carrying Immortan Joe's child, and funny enough, all the other ones weren't carrying children.
No,
Except
one
that
of them was. One of them weren't. Well, another one was.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, another one was because she was like, yeah. He's like, this is a boy. I don't know if she said because she was talking to one of the.
Right. So anyway, well, 2 of them are carrying his child. The rest of them aren't, and one of them who is carrying his child is killed. A child and his child along with it. And in the movie, they try to save the child because she was in labor.
Yeah.
When she was crushed.
Actually, I don't think they could save her because I remember when he cut it out, he was like, well, a month or 2, and it would have been a perfect baby boy.
Yeah, I know. And,
So-
then, and they just chucked the baby. I'm like, what the fuck, dude? Are you kidding me? You can't just bury it on the side of the road, like give it a little bit of respect and all that stuff. Anyway, like she gets crushed by one of the wheels, and like they cut her open, and it was a perfect child, and that was his whole goal. Immortan Joe's goal was to get the perfect son, to run his empire after
Because
he's dead.
he has a son, but he's kind of like him. He's got the thing
He's
in his
mutated.
nose.
Yeah, he's mutated, and he's a mutated one. But he wants a perfect son. He wants a perfect son. He wants no other child. He wants perfect sons, and that's his whole. And that's the reason why he takes his entire warband out to find them, is because he wants his sons, and that's why he's so ambitious and so driven. He's like, I want my breeders back, or at least one of them back. I need at least one of them back.
And well, they're dead.
and then one of them he tries to get back, ends up dead. And it's
That one breeder was a bitch though. She kept trying to leave. She's like, maybe I'm gonna go back to him.
Yeah, maybe he'll treat me a little bit more respect. But you know what though? That's the thing though. Like if he was that driven to get his breeders back to have his child, he wouldn't have done anything to her. He would have just taken her back to the cell and locked her in the vault again. Maybe with a few extra guards, but that's about it.
That's a great life. Locked in a vault.
Yeah, that's the thing though. That huge door to keep the breeders there was a safe door. I could not believe
But
that.
didn't have a lock combination. He just went.
Yeah, he just opened it. Maybe they were like maybe like even though Immortan Joe is covered in mutations, he's still pretty strong. But like even though he does have a hard time walking a bit, but he's still pretty strong. He's still got big arms and he's still pretty strong. So he's obviously he can open the door.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the thing though. Furiosa though saved them, so maybe she got into the vault somehow.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. Maybe it was locked.
But she was one of his most trusted people.
So maybe it made sense that she was allowed to go into the breeder room and and give them orders or do whatever, and that was another thing maybe.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's now move on to one of the other factions. There's not a whole lot of them. There's only one more faction that I saw, and that was the Raven people in the marshlands.
With the bikes.
Oh no! That's right. The Men of the Mountain. The Men of the Mountain were
because
guys.
Furiosa made a deal with them, and
So anyway, And so anyway, Furiosa's deal was that she would give the Mountain Men bikes if they attacked the warband.
No,
and the warband, gas, fuel, and so anyway, she traded fuel for their service to wipe out the warband, and then the Mountain Men saw how many cars were coming after her, and they were like, oh shit. So anyway, they ended up, like one of the women who's in labor with his child or something, it was like makes a noise, and then they hear her, and then they take off again, and it's just
just wild chase.
Yeah, wild
chase. Bikes flying over top, dropping bombs. That was pretty cool. They jump. It was like motocross. It was like
extreme explosive motocross
sports. Like just dropping.
This is like motocross. This is like motocross, but this is like every man's wet dream motocross. This is how like every man's wet. This is like.
That's a pretty clever idea since they're using the mountains.
Yeah, it's like they constantly go back and forth like this. So anyway,
the Raven is a hell of a shot, by the way. She made a couple shots.
That's another thing.
She made a couple shots. I was like, whoa.
I know,
Max is missing.
I know, and then she helped him, and that's another thing. I think that's why people thought it was feminist propaganda, was because she helped him a couple times, and it was like,
yeah, I guess because people thought he's Max. He should be just instantly just ridiculously badass. He's Mad Max.
Well, not every hero is Hawkeye. That's another thing. Or not every hero.
Not every hero is gonna be just like.
Or not every hero is a Green Arrow or Hawkeye. They're not. So and it doesn't. Anyway, it doesn't really matter about the other stuff. We're not gonna go into the whole feminist bullshit. So Let's talk about the final faction. Was something that, well, it's only for a split second. There was a faction like in the marshland. There were two guys on stilts looking things walking in the marshlands. They're like the Raven guys or something. And there was nothing on them. I guess they were scavengers. There really wasn't anything on them. And so that's basically who they were. They were scavengers walking in the marshlands on these stilts, because I guess the marshlands are that treacherous that you don't want to walk in the mud. Yeah. But here's the thing about the marshlands. That was the original green place until something happened. Where
it's not. I was about to say.
It's not green anymore.
He said something about green earlier. I wanted to say that, but he said, hold spoiler. Like, well, it's not green anymore.
It's not green anymore. It was the water is bad, the trees are dead, and the soil is just muck.
That's why spoiler, but to give away the ending here.
Well, we'll wait to the spoilers discussion.
Okay.
We'll wait to the spoilers discussion at the ending. So anyway, and then the Many Mothers are basically like a female-dominated faction, basically, and they all died off. Well, not all of them, but some of them.
All of them, but like 2, maybe. I think all the rest of them died.
Well, yeah,
the old lady got.
There's like about 8 or 9 of them left total. And it was really weird because when they meet the Many Mothers, the last remnants of the Many Mothers, one of them was like naked on like a crane or something.
They were using her as bait.
Yeah.
So that if someone saw her, they'd come over there and then they'd rob them and take all they got.
Yeah, and then
that was the deal.
Yeah, and then Furiosa said, I am this person's child. I'm one of the Many Mothers, and then they didn't attack her because she was, that person's child. I can't remember her mother's name, but
I can't remember her mother's name.
I couldn't remember her mother's name. I'm sure you can find it, but anyway, now let's talk about the cars.
There were some sick cars.
The cars. Remember, what a Morton Joe's car was called?
I can't remember.
The Giga Horse. The double Cadillac DeVille monster truck. The Giga Horse. I thought that car was so bad.
I thought the car. I think that's just the names of the cars and stuff. But all those cars were really nice.
All of them have their own unique names, but the only ones that are revealed to you are the Giga Horse and then the one and the subwoofer van truck thing.
Yeah.
And then there's the War Rig, and then that's the only ones that are revealed to you really. But the Giga Horse was just so interesting. But the subwoofer bus, the part bus with the war drums and the guitar player, I'm like, and
shooting fire out.
And it's funny because they actually devote resources to morale boosting cars. They have enough resources to do that.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Got this guy.
So yeah,
that's a hell of a gig.
Yeah. So anyway, there's not really much more to the movie besides this movie is filmed on a road. They're always on the move, except for a few parts they stop.
This movie is an adrenaline rush.
It is an adrenaline rush.
This is a hardcore R-rated movie. This is a hardcore, boom, it hits you right from the beginning with Max, and it's just an adrenaline rush. Now, some people said it's just one long car chase. To a degree. They stop. But
they do stop a couple times.
To a degree, it is. But that's not all.
That's the thing. It's not just a car chase. This is a war on the road. Yeah. This is how wars are fought in this universe. They're not fought on like the front line, digging trenches and shooting from a trench. They're on the road, moving all the time. Yeah. That's where wars are fought.
Gas is like oil. I mean, gas is like oil. Gas is like gold in this universe.
Is there a brain in there?
Gas is like gold.
And gas is gold.
It's like
so is food and water. Any natural resources are gold. And anyway, Morton Joe trades food, water, and breast milk and blood in order to get gas and bullets. So that's his whole thing. And the three of them run the wasteland basically. Now the cars in and of themselves are characters. I have to say each car is their own unique character within themselves. The Giga Horse is obviously the most iconic because that's a Morton Joe's personal.
I'm still upset that the most iconic car wasn't even really in the movie.
The Interceptor.
The most iconic car, the most noticeable iconic car that I just knew it was gonna be a big part in this movie, and I'm just like, where's the Interceptor?
Yeah, they took it away from him, and then they brought it back, and then they
destroyed it again.
Yeah,
that
was bullshit.
And it was early in the movie. It wasn't like they destroyed it in the end.
That was one of the only really cons about. There's not really that's the thing with this movie. There wasn't a lot of cons about it. There was some things that didn't make much sense.
Yeah, I would say there are some things that didn't make much sense.
But there's not a lot of them.
The destruction of the
Interceptor, that's number one for me.
That's one.
So anyway, we'll talk about all that stuff in the spoilers discussion. Well, we'll talk about each individual one, but like the main ones that won't spoil the movie was the Interceptor blowing up, And it felt that the brides didn't have a bigger role.
Yeah, the brides, I felt like they were just there.
Yeah, they were there. They had some minor roles, but some little teeny tiny roles, but not like they didn't play a part of the team. I mean like they were a part of a team and they didn't really play their roles.
I'm not gonna say that I mean Max and Furiosa did great together. That made chemistry,
Right.
but I feel like they could have had a little bit more chemistry.
That's the thing. They didn't need any romance.
Not romance. I'm not saying
Oh,
romance.
no,
I'm
not
saying
romance.
like I feel like they could have did a little bit more things with them. I feel like it was just
Right.
we met, respect, and just keep rolling.
Yeah, and that's
like,
what
I feel like
about
it wasn't like a bunch of things that happened to make him respect. I think it was just like situation.
That's
respect,
there were no
go on.
bonds of friendship.
Yeah, there was no. Like, I feel like
there was no bonds of friendship between the two.
I feel like the only reason Max went back, not because he liked him,
and that's the
he
thing,
only
this
went
movie-
back because he regretted what he happened last time. He didn't go back because he liked them. If he hadn't done anything bad in the other movie, he would have left them.
Yeah.
So that's why I was kind of like, I mean, I feel like
he actually, Mad
Mad
Max always plays out like he doesn't care, but he does care. He always tries to make amends for his mistakes, but he always makes mistakes, so it really doesn't matter. So anyway, there's not a lot of whole pros and cons about the movie besides that one. I mean, like, that's the thing. Me and Deshaun always, like, I think you and I hate forced romance subplots.
Yeah,
we hate it. We just like hate it. And like in Age of Ultron, they forced a love story, and it was like
we differ on this. That's one of the love stories we differ on because I didn't think it was. I
thought it was forced.
I thought it was going to be forced, but I don't feel like it's forced. But that's the story. That conversation.
Yeah, that's the conversation. Yeah, for another day. We'll do the on Age of Ultron on another day. If we do any more tests, I think after this we might be set on modern stuff. But anyway, so now now we need to just stick around after our final verdict to hear the spoilers discussion about certain things.
Do we give it the grade now?
No grades. We're not doing grades
Okay.
because movies I think don't. Because I mean you could do movies on grades, but I don't believe that they deserve it. I think they deserve 10, like 1 through 10.
Yeah, 1 through 10. That's what I meant. 1 through 10.
1 through 10, not a grade. So all right, I give Mad Max Fury Road an 8 out of 10. I give it an 8 out of 10. Here's why. Because of the original Mad Maxes, Tom Hardy was not a Mel Gibson, and that was another thing. Mel Gibson built the Mad Max character, and it was hard to follow in those footsteps. I'm not saying Tom Hardy didn't do a good job. I'm saying there were rough shoes to fill. Furiosa could have been more, I guess, like detailed-ish because there was a lot of detail to Furiosa, but there wasn't enough to really go.
There's a little bit of blanks too.
There's a lot of blanks. There's a lot of blanks in the movie that you just don't get. The ending, we're going to talk about in the spoilers discussion, was really anticlimactic.
Yeah.
Very anticlimactic ending. But the ending itself was one of the reasons why I give it an 8 instead of any lower, was because the ending itself is complete. It's a complete movie. If they never made another Fury Road type movie again, it'd be completely fine.
Okay.
Very complete. So anyway, what's your final word?
I'm gonna go with you 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10. All right.
8 out of 10 for a lot of the same reasons. Like I said, I thought Furiosa. There's a lot of blanks for her story. And there's a lot of blanks of what happened to Max. Like after his last movie, you just gotta kind of figure it out.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, the whole thing with brides not really being that big of a deal.
Yeah.
I think that when they got there and found out that the green wasn't there.
Yeah, I know.
They kind of skipped over. It was kind of really like boom, just over it. We gotta go and didn't.
And then they went all the way
spoilers,
back.
No spoilers. But yeah, for those reasons, I gave it an 8 out of 10. I still love the movie. I thought the action was great.
It was a great
I thought
movie.
the practical effects were great. Tom Hardy and I always forget her name.
Charlie.
Something stare. I can't always forget her name.
Charlie.
The girl was Furiosa.
Yeah, Charlie. Theron. Charlie
Theron. Yeah, they did great. I mean, they did good. It was just I wish that them two together, like not dating or together.
Yeah.
I wish they had more.
Not a love relationship.
I wish they had more scenes together.
More bonds of friendship.
Yeah, bonds of friendship.
Not a love story. Just
more
stuff. More friendship.
That and Tom Hardy, he really didn't talk. Like, and he did a lot of.
He grunted a lot. Very grunt. Yeah, he grunted a lot. And the only time, and the most he ever talked was at the end when he convinced Furiosa to go back. I think that was the most he ever really talked. Like, that was when he was trying to convince Furiosa to go back. Well, there is a green place. You came from there.
Yeah, and I still feel like that because of what I said earlier, that they didn't have a bond. That the fact that the matter is, if he hadn't screwed up in the past as bad, he wouldn't have left them.
That's true.
He didn't go back because he felt bad for them. He went back because he felt bad for what he did in the past, and he doesn't want that to happen again.
Mm-hmm. All right. So now let's talk about spoilers about certain things in the movie. Now let's talk about the ending. The ending was anticlimactic.
Maybe we
The
should-
boss fight. Well, now we're at the spoilers discussion half of it. This is when we're gonna cut it and then do a separate video.
Okay.
Let's just do it all in one. The ending itself was very anticlimactic. The boss fight
Well,
with
him just
Immortan
walking
Joe.
away.
Well, no. I'm talking about the boss fight with Immortan Joe. It was like he just slapped his face mask off and then that was it. It was like no epic battle, no
No.
No, just that's all you get. It was like just slap his face mask off or whatever, and then they, and then as soon as they get back to the Citadel, they kick dead Joe out. I was like, what the? How did you kill him? That was the whole thing. And then the warband didn't get wiped out for another thing, and then the warband, what was left of them, was
Big
blocked by a truck.
Yeah, one truck.
It was like you were blocked by rocks falling out of the mountains, and you got through that, but you couldn't get through past the truck, or you couldn't move it.
I'm confused. Are they gonna just follow Furiosa now at the end, or is that?
Yeah, well, the ending pretty much made it where Furiosa was now pretty much in charge of the whole, the whole deal. She released the water and gave the water to the people, and she was going to be a little bit more fair to the people now. And so I guess, and then Mad Max, fading into the background, and I like that. It was, Mad Max is a loner. That's who he is. Deep down inside, he'll help people if they need it, but he's a loner. When the job's finished, he's a loner, and he'll.
Yeah.
So anyway, Mad Max, like the bond of friendship that comes between him and Furiosa is like he gives his blood to her and saves her life, and then he fades away back into the crowd.
That was so weird too. I thought she was gonna die.
I thought she was gonna die.
Gonna die, and then he just gave her, and it was like, oh, okay, all right, I guess that works. All right.
Yeah. So anyway, that was pretty much the spoilers and discussion. There's there was a few things that we pretty much, we didn't spoil too much in the discussion. We only
Nook dies.
Nook does die.
He dies saving them.
Yeah, and I thought Nux, because Nux was a good man. He was a good hero after the end of it.
In the end,
his character changed.
Yeah, he see, that's the thing I think why I said he might be one of the interesting because he's the only character who has an arc. I got a character arc. He goes from this to that, and he actually goes from somewhere to somewhere else. I feel like
every other war boy was just completely one direction.
I feel like everybody else was in one direction.
Everyone else was one direction.
Nook was the only guy who actually had layers to him.
Yeah, and here's the thing though, and I was showing him some gameplay from the Mad Max game that's coming out in September, and this game looks so cool, and they borrow a lot of cool elements from like Shadow of Mordor, Batman.
Mm-hmm.
And some elements from Fallout, and it's really, and it looks interesting. And if this game is anything
most importantly, they borrow from Mad Max Fury Road. I see a lot.
Yeah, and if they use a lot of gameplay mechanics like in Fury Road, I want to play in this wasteland and play this game because, these guys. Like I said, but these guys do not fight war. Bayonet to bayonet on the ground in the trenches. They fight wars in their vehicles. And that's how they fight their wars.
Think about bump-em cars, except real cars.
Well, here's the thing. Imagine World War II being fought by nothing with planes, jeeps, motorcycles, and tanks. Imagine if no soldier ever left a vehicle. Yeah. That's basically what Fury Road was. It was basically like you take every soldier and put him on a bike, or put him on a jeep, put him on a plane, or put him on a tank.
No, I was curious.
Send him out of the
were they trying to, because I know at the beginning Furiosa and Max were driving that tanker was full of gas.
Yeah.
I was thinking to myself, wait, was it full of gas? Or were they going to get it full of gas?
No, it was already full. No, and that was another con because it was like she was going to Gastown to trade breast milk for gas.
So was it full of breast milk?
Yeah, it was full of breast milk.
Okay, because for a little bit there, I thought it was full of gas. I'm sitting there like, why didn't it blow up? They shot that thing a billion times. Like,
yeah,
why didn't it blow up?
Because it was breast milk.
Okay.
It was not fuel. It was not fuel. It was breast milk.
I was about to say,
they were going to Gastown to trade Joe's brother for gas.
Another thing,
breast milk.
I almost forgot one of the coolest scenes, that huge sandstorm and it going.
The thunder sandstorm.
It was like crazy.
And as soon as a car got wrecked or something, they all flew out into the cyclone and stuff like that.
That scene was sick.
And then Nux is going like, "What a lovely day!"
That's one of the lines on the thing. What a lovely day.
What a lovely day. He's spraying his mom chromed up for Valhalla, and it was like, oh my goodness, the testosterone in this movie are pumping.
Another thing, there was this one badass scene, which is probably one of the most badass scenes you see from Tom Hardy and Mad Max, when he gets off and he's just like, "I'll be back," and he's like, "What happens if you don't come back?" Then go. And he's like, "Where's he going?" To retaliate. You just hear boom, boom, and you just see him walking back with all this ammo and stuff. What did he do?
And all this blood and oil and gas, whatever it was.
She's like, "Are you bleeding?" And Furiosa just looks at him. That's not his blood.
That's not his blood.
I'm like, whoa, what the hell did he just go do?
Yeah, well, he killed the mayor of Gastown.
Yeah, but I'm
He
like,
killed
how?
No,
No.
not Gastown, Bullet Town.
Bullet Town, yeah, because he
Bullet
was just
Town.
sitting there like,
He's just shooting his SMGs,
and the
I
girl's
hope
like,
he gets lucky.
pretty much. I don't know. Did he fuck his eyes up or something?
Yeah, he got not shot in the eyes. I think he was either shot in the eyes or something got in his eyes where he couldn't see him. Where he
Yeah,
was
it's like
blind.
just put something
he was
on.
blinded. Yeah, he was blinded. He was basically blinded, and he was like, you know what, screw it. I'm gonna like waste bullets until I get lucky. And that was his whole
Pretty
thing.
much. Maybe I'll hit one of them.
Maybe I'll hit one eventually. Maybe.
And then Max goes over there, and I don't know what he did. We don't know. You just know he blew a bunch of people up, took some ammo and stuff.
Yeah, and then like he washed his face, and he was like, "What is this stuff?" And he was like, and then like one of the brides goes, "Mother's milk," and then he's just like, he just start washing his face with it. I was like, "Oh shit!" Well, and Max doesn't give a shit whatsoever.
Pretty much.
So anyway, that's basically it. There's not really much more spoilers to the movie because there's really not much to the
Yeah,
movie.
the movie
It's very
is
simple.
That might be a gripe a little bit. Is that it is really simple and it's really
Yeah,
there
it's
is
not
no
like-
there
yeah.
is no like
Yeah.
twist and
I'm
turns.
gonna
There's
do
no
the,
ups
yeah. That's
and
the thing.
downs.
I'm
It's
gonna
just-
bring up one of these movies that has a lot of that. It's called Jupiter's Ascension. You ever see that?
No.
It was made by the people who did the Matrix trilogy. And I thought because of that, it was going to be a great movie, but there were so many plot holes, twists, and turns. I was literally in a labyrinth.
I didn't
It was
wanna go see
basically
it.
if you take a labyrinth and put it in a movie. That's basically what it was. And I was lost.
So you're saying Mad Max is the opposite?
It's the exact opposite. It's
There's
just
nothing. Yeah, it is just one.
one way. It's simple to understand, simple to comprehend. The only thing that you really don't understand is how the world got fucked up, and the only reason why, and you only get like a radio message.
And if you want to figure that out, just watch some of the other old Mad Maxes. I think he explains it. in
I think
one
the
of
older
them.
ones do explain what happened to the planet, and then but in the beginning of Mad Max, I mean, they say like there's no oil in the world anymore, there's no water anymore, and then you hear in like the echoing, their nukes drop, and then all of a sudden Mad Max is introduced. That's basically all it says, and it's complete. And the one thing about the movie, the reason why it's so simple, it's because it's complete.
Mm-hmm.
There are no sequel baits in this movie.
No, well,
Not
I've heard they're making a sequel. I heard they're coming out.
If they do, hell,
this
it's gonna
is
be a badass.
This is
movie.
what I've heard. They're coming out with they may make a Furiosa twist spinoff.
Maybe.
And they may make, and they're gonna make this. This is the deal. They're gonna make a Mad Max movie. It's called Mad Max Wasteland.
A game or a movie?
Movie.
Oh, okay.
Mad Max Wasteland. I don't know what they're gonna do.
I hope
with
he
it.
gets his dog in that one. I hope he gets his dog.
I don't know what they're gonna do in that movie, but I am hearing that the game the game has something to do with the movie. Like it's like something.
Well,
it's
the
a part
game
of
Mad
it.
Max is being developed by Avalanche Studios, being published by Warner Brothers,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't really know any games made by Avalanche. Do you?
Avalanche. I feel like I have. When you
I
say
feel like
it,
we may have
I've
played
heard
some
it.
games. I've heard the name before.
but I
I've
don't
never
know for
seen.
sure.
I've never played a game. I probably did, but I don't remember. And anyway, Mad Max, the game, is a standalone from the movie Fury Road. It is not related to Fury Road in any way,
Not
shape,
related
or
to
form.
Fury Road, but I heard that it's like because
Right.
Max has lived along. He's been out here in the waste for a while. I heard it's
Yeah,
supposed to be like
weird.
it's going to be like the main story of that, like the game is going to be something that he's done that he might reference to maybe
Right.
in the movie, in the next movie, like be like, well, I did this thing. He'd be like, hey, it's something because Star Wars has done that a lot. They have like a bunch. Star Wars has a whole bunch of things that are interconnected: games, movies,
Oh,
cartoon
right.
shows, and they're all in the same world.
Yeah, but that's what Star Wars has done with the franchise. They have turned it into something else, and that's what I think Mad Max is starting to do with Fury Road. And Mad Max, though, like when the 3 Mad Max movies came out, the Mad Max trilogy kind of dropped. It was like,
Yeah.
okay, well, the 3 movies weren't really related too much. They weren't intertwined as much as Star Wars
Mad
was.
Max is a movie or a movie character or a movie world and character that was begging for a video game. I'm glad that they made a game.
I'm
out
glad
of
they're
it.
making a game.
I mean,
You know,
they're
and
begging
some
to have a
people
video
say,
game.
And some people say this, and I agree with this. Movie license games are awful. And I played, oh my god, how many?
Movie license games.
How many
I'm trying to
of
think.
them?
I've actually played. I played a couple that were pretty good. They're usually superhero. I thought Spider-Man 2 is actually pretty cool. If you're into Spider-Man, if you like Spider-Man, and swinging around the city.
Yeah, and then they
getting-
made like the Green Lantern, Thor, which was awful. Every movie license game I ever played was
X-Men
bad.
Wolverine. X-Men Origins Wolverine. The movie was awful. The game was pretty good.
The movie was bad. I loved Origins Wolverine. I thought it was a great movie.
I don't know. The
I thought it
game
was
was
okay.
pretty cool though, because they actually gave you that vibe of feeling. That's why I said I like those 2 games that are based off movies, because you actually felt like.
Yeah,
you
and that's why I
were in
believe
those
this one
worlds.
will be different. I hope it'll be different.
Yeah.
Because you'll feel like you're playing as Mad Max, the guy who
It's kind of
lost
weird that everybody's
everything.
doing that little based off of Batman. I feel like everybody's doing that. The hit Y and
Well, yeah, the combat is similar from some of the other games, but at the same time, like like I said, Fury Road, all their wars against each other are fought on the road.
Yeah.
So that Mad Max, Mad Max the game you fight enemies on the road,
That's
and the
cool.
only time you fight is when you have to is when you go to certain bunkers or certain outposts. Then you fight on the ground. But other than that, when you're constantly going through this massive wasteland that's so big and expansive, and you got to find fuel and food and water and parts for your car, the Magnum Opus, which is he loses the Interceptor in the game too. Loses the fucking
What's
Interceptor.
with them taking the Interceptor? Do they got a problem with the Interceptor?
I think they do. I think that's a conspiracy theory.
They hate the
They
Interceptor.
hate the Interceptor, but they don't want to say it because it'll freak out fans. Yes. Anyway, yeah.
Mel Gibson,
In
somewhere
the
like-
game, yeah, you lose the Interceptor, and you're left with nothing, and you have to rebuild. That's basically the game. Anyway, well, we'll talk about the game another day. But anyway, yeah.
I think that's about it, actually. isn't
That's
it?
about it for Mad Max Fury Road. There's not much more to the movie. It's very simple. It's complete. It's simple and complete, but it's a badass film. Badass. Like, if you could describe this movie in one word, what would you say?
I would say
One word.
Rush.
Rush. Rush. All right. So anyway, guys, thank you for joining us today. We're gonna cut this video into two pieces, and we're gonna do a discussion video and the spoilers edition. The spoiler edition might not be as long as the discussion because the discussion, like we tried to keep spoilers out, but there were some things that we had to include spoilers, and because it was a part of it, because we left it out, it wouldn't have made sense.
Yeah.
So anyway, thank you guys for joining us, and we will see you guys next time. Join us again on.
The Comic Gamer Movie Show. What are you shutting that?
Shun that? Shown that? What did you say?
Shorten that.
Shorten
the
that.
initials.
You see what I have to put up with, people?
The initials.
See what I got to put up with? Anyway, guys,
Comic
thank you guys
Gamer
very
Movie
much.
Show, CGM.
This guy here. You have one job.